You often comment that I only review high-spec cars that nobody can afford. Yeah, press cars are usually well equipped, but I did manage to change the BMW X3 M50 for an X320. And it's even got cloth seats. This is the BMW X320 xDrive G45. Let's see if it's any good.
The BMW X3 is a compact luxury SUV that has been in production since 2003. More than 20 years later, the Bavarian carmaker is launching the 4th generation. What's new about the X3 and is it worth upgrading to from your current car? Over 20 plus years, the BMW X3 grew almost 20 centimeters in length and now measures a whopping 475.5 centimeters. However, the 4th generation G45 is not much bigger from the 3rd generation X3 G01. It's just 34mm longer, 9mm wider, 25mm lower, and the wheelbase has lengthened by just a millimeter to 2,865mm. The truck has increased up to 16mm at the front and up to 45mm at the rear, depending on the version. These are largely cosmetic changes. Slightly longer overhangs led to worse approach and departure angles, which dropped from 25 to 21 and from 23 to 22 degrees respectively. For some reason, the breakover angle is over 1 degree lower at 18.7 degrees, despite a nearly identical wheelbase and a 12mm higher ground clearance, which is now 216mm.
And since we're talking all those off-road angles and stuff, I'll do my diagonal approach test where two wheels on the diagonal have limited traction. I stop halfway up this incline and I try to get going again to see if the all-wheel drive system is any good.
I tried normal mode with ESP on. Since I can only turn off ESP or limit its aggressiveness in sport mode, the next attempt is in sport mode with ESP in sport setting and sport mode with ESP off completely. And last but not least, a system assisting taking off on slippery surface. It looks pretty much the same from the outside and feels the same from behind the wheel.
Also, if you're adventurous enough to take your X3 off-road, there is hill descent control feature. I'm letting off the brakes and down I go! Oh, well, it's actually quite good. I'm not touching the brake. Perfect!
Let's talk design. Like other new BMW and Mini models, the X3 is now more stubby, boxy. The front end is almost vertical. The radiator grille, which should now be called the radar cover since the air intake is lower, now features stripes vertical and diagonal. Depending on the equipment version, these can be satin or glossy black. Illuminated halo around the grille is an option. I like it, but I do understand if you have a different opinion about it. On the side, flash door handles, at least they're not the pop-out type, flattened fenders, and that would be it. By the way, I don't know why BMW insists on not covering the sills with the doors. The last few days it was rainy and I had to pay attention to keep my trousers clean getting in and out. The rear has also been flattened. I suppose it was modeled on the XM, only here we have additional plastic elements surrounding the rear window. Except for the most powerful M50 version, lesser X3s have the exhaust hidden behind the diffuser. An optional hitch can also extend from behind it. The current X3 can tow up to 2.5 tons, 100 kilograms more than the previous generation model. The 30e version plug-in hybrid has a towing limit of 2 tons. Regardless of the powertrain, all X3s have 100 kilograms roof and vertical tow hitch limit.
The hand of BMW's current stylists unfortunately can be felt or seen in the boot. First of all, look at all this mess here. Today it's frozen, but if it wasn't, we would have water dripping all down the way here. And how much of it will leak behind the carpet, on the sides? If you're lucky, it'll be the next owner's problem. The boot volume has increased from 550 to 570 liters in 5-seat configuration, with the backrest in the second row folded. Fortunately, the 40-20-40 split is now standard. There is 1700 liters, taking into account the storage compartment under the boot floor, that is, because without it, around here it's not 570 but around 460.
The underfloor storage compartment easily holds, among other things, the cargo cover and the net separating the luggage compartment from the passenger compartment. There are 2 shopping bag hooks, a 12-volt outlet, and that's about it. The boot can be opened and closed with gesture and closed with a button. There is also a separate button which closes the tailgate and locks the car. There's plenty of legroom and headroom in the rear. There are spacious door pockets. There's third zone climate control and USB-C ports. There's an armrest with cup holders. Fold the center element of the backrest and you get a ski hatch. I wouldn't mind backrest angle adjustment, and it would be nice if there was footroom for an adult on the tunnel. I have a feeling that even a child will have to sit with the tunnel between their feet.
While you're checking out rear space, take a look through this huge panoramic roof. The rear passengers can take full advantage of it. It brightens up the otherwise gloomy rear part of the passenger compartment. While the rear is somewhat gloomy, the front is all lit up like a Christmas tree. This ambient type of lighting debuted in the BMW 7 Series and is slowly trickling down to the lesser models. We have lighting here around the door handles and around buttons for the seat memory function and to adjust the airflow. Yes, the airflow is adjusted electronically. Ho, ho, ho. And then there is another lit bar down here under the center display, where in addition to adjusting the airflow, we have buttons for rear and front window defrosters and the hazard lights as well. And something tells me that with the new Euro NCAP guidelines for physical buttons to operate basic vehicle functions, BMW will have to abandon this nonsense. Serves them right.
There's a mix of physical and haptic buttons on the steering wheel. There are less of them than in the previous generation. Many settings, such as the adaptive cruise control distance, are now in the driver assistance systems menu on the central display. Haptic buttons are also on the tunnel next to the iDrive knob. The problem is that since the buttons are haptic, I have to take my eyes off the road to operate them, so I might just as well click on the display instead of using the iDrive controller. The infotainment system is BMW OS 9, which, aside from a different interface, from my point of view, adds little to the vehicle's operations. Features such as reverse assist systems, saving the parking space, or viewing the car's surroundings from an app work just as well on iDrive 7. Well, okay, maybe saved parking space feature came in OS 8, but the other features were available before that. There are 2 large phone slots under the screen, with only one of them charging wirelessly. And it doesn't like phones in protective cases, but even without a case, charging is often interrupted because the phone slides about while the car is moving. There are also 2 USB-C ports down there. Running a cable from them to the phone doesn't look good. The cup holders are very good. There is a decent-sized storage compartment under the armrest and a small glove box. The door pockets are average size.
At the beginning I said something came up and I had to swap the M50 for the 20 variant at the last minute. And that's actually a very good thing, because while I have no doubt the 3-liter inline-6 X3 with almost 400 horsepower would be brilliant fun, I was more interested in the updated 2-liter petrol variant. Yes, it's now a mild hybrid, but other than that, most of the other parameters seem to be the same as in the G01. There's been a power hike from 184 to 208 horsepower, and torque is up from 300 to 310 newton meters. The new X3 20 xDrive is 120 kilograms heavier than the previous generation xDrive 20i, and it now weighs 1855 kilograms. However, according to the manufacturer's figures, it should use about 1 liter per 100 kilometers less in the combined cycle. That's like low 7s now, and the time from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour should be half a second better at 7.8 seconds.
The best fuel economy figure I saw on my test drive was in the high 7s, but 8 or more liters per 100 kilometers seems closer to reality. On the other hand, the time from 0 to 100 km per hour was 7.9 seconds in sport mode with launch control and 8.6 seconds in normal mode. The temperature was around freezing and the asphalt was slightly damp, but I doubt this had a significant impact on the result, as the car took off without hesitation. The 18-inch winter tires may have been a factor though. In sport mode, the transmission shifts gears very aggressively. In normal mode, on the other hand, you feel something like clutch slipping. Regardless of the results of the acceleration test, the X3 20 xDrive gives the impression of being much faster than it really is. I only wish the brakes were powerful enough.
This test example is equipped with the M Pro Sport package, which also includes a sport brake system. I don't know how weak the regular brakes must be, but I was surprised by the M Pro pack poor performance. Well, at least steering is excellent. On my test route I have several stretches of road with a series of turns which the X3 took as if it's on rails. The steering ratio has been reduced from just under 17 to just under 16 to 1, meaning less steering input achieves the same front wheel steering angle. BMW boasts increased stiffness of the body and mounts. On top of that, there's the improved suspension, which masks the weight of the vehicle quite well. On winding roads, the X3 just drives a size smaller. That's great.
However, the turning circle is up 20 centimeters to 12.2 meters. While it doesn't seem much, it turns out it makes a difference when I'm reversing into my driveway. No matter. After all, there is a system that saves the parking space and a series of maneuvers leading to it. Well, as it turned out, the X3 is so big that it can't always perform the stored series of maneuvers. I have to trick it by deliberately slowing down before the ramp and then letting off the brake so that the car will roll up the driveway at a higher speed. If I have to learn tricks to get the system working properly, I might just as well learn how to park myself. But there are certainly places where the parking assistant will do just fine. A feature that's been in BMW cars since at least 2009 is a reversing assistant, which does an excellent job, for example, backing out of a narrow street. It now records the last 200 meters and the car reverses in its tracks. The driver only needs to control the brake, as the speed of the car can affect whether it takes a particular turn tighter or wider.
The soundproofing is excellent. I even wondered if BMW didn't use active noise cancellation, but I couldn't find information about it in the press release. And trust me, if they would have boasted about it. So, simply put, great soundproofing. It's great to know that the extra kilograms went to more than just a mild hybrid. Visibility is so-so, the A-pillars are thick and they start rather high. I had to raise the seat to see properly, and I usually like to sit low. By the way, the seats are comfortable, you can order real leather, but I don't like the color options. Sustainable leather, which has more color options. In the long run, it can prove less durable than leather and thus not be so ecological. Its main advantage over cloth upholstery is that it's relatively easier to clean.
Driver aids are great. I really enjoy using the adaptive cruise control and active lane keeping assist in BMWs. Thanks to them, long drives are less tiresome. The systems are well calibrated. I never encountered instances where the system would get lost, start braking for no reason, or go left or right between lanes. I only wish the traffic sign recognition was better. Around where I live, I have several places where all cars, no matter which brand or how expensive, get lost. Either they read signs from parallel roads or display some old speed limits which are stored on the maps, which the road authority clearly hasn't updated in years.
As you may have noticed, BMW has tweaked its naming scheme. So, the old xDrive 20i is now called 20 xDrive. Petrol engines no longer have the I suffix, meanwhile EVs will continue to get the I prefix, like the iX3, for example. And then there's going to be a number for the power output and the xDrive, if the car is equipped with all-wheel drive. The X3 comes in 20, 20D, 30E, 40D and 50M versions, M50 actually. All of them have all-wheel drive, all of them have 8-speed Steptronic transmission, with the plug-in hybrid having an electric motor integrated into the transmission.
Prices of the BMW X3 start at €59,400 for the 20 xDrive. The base diesel will set you back 62 grand. The PHEV starts at 66,000, the big diesel at 70,000 and the M50 at 84,500. This test car with options costs €75,740.
The BMW X3 is still a great to drive SUV. I'm pleased that even the base engine variant rides and handles great. If the leasing on your current X3 is coming to an end, the new one is worth checking out. And what do you think about the BMW X3 G45? Let me know in the comment section below.
If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.